Welcome back, and it didn't look like it for the entire game, but Chiefs do end up getting it done there in game one of the weekend. Rusty, I said to you just before we came back, my heart was with AV with that one. I wanted AV to take it, and it looked like for so long they would.
Yeah, you can't help but feel like they were, how do I explain this? The takeaway for me was that I think AV are just the real deal, you know? Like, they came into that game with a strategy, it played out as they expected, they got the lead. The end of the day, they did get outscaled. They gave over just a couple too many opportunities, and there's the type of play in there that you expect from like a second week team, you know. And once they start to clean that up, this is where you get to see the best teams really get pushed beyond their limits by the side of AV. And so far, so good. They just couldn't actually close it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, it's a bit of a shame that game came for them against the Chiefs, against nearly any other team in the OPL. They probably could have closed it out, and they would have taken the win with that spawn. How are the Chiefs looking to you after a bit of a bumpy start in week one?
I'm such a shock jock. Their bottom lane at the moment sucks. Can we just call it what it is? Like, have they won a bottom 2v2 yet? That was rough to watch from the Chiefs. I think they were literally saved by the champion Kale in that game. If Kale didn't exist in its current state, I think that game is probably over, 10 minutes beforehand.
Mm-hmm. All right, well done, Chiefs. You move on to tomorrow. I mean, you're always going to move on anyway. This isn't some sort of elimination bracket where we just get rid of you. But you know, you can move on with your head held high and a bit of confidence heading into day two. All right, it's time to move on for us now to a little segment that we can thank Rusty for. This is Mystery Champion.
What is this? These graphics get better and better, man. I tell you what.
The fake laughter is the best part.
Feels like watching a sitcom. OPL, this sitcom.
I miss Spawn's hair. Good lord. That was a good time. So Mystery Champion is, we were trying to figure out how to do some sort of charades, some sort of celebrity heads game, but we couldn't work it out when we're all sitting in front of cameras where we could see each other and we can all see Twitch chat. It just seems like there's too many obstacles there, and clearly we don't trust each other enough to be able to just say, oh, we won't look. So instead it's pivoted to charades, which will be both more difficult and definitely more humiliating. I feel like, Rusty, you need to start us off because this is your fault. So you've been given a champion, a League of Legends champion that you need to charade out for us in the ample space that you have.
I have so much room. I have half an arm length that way. So,
yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll just try it. I've got one. So I was given the champions at the start of the show. I have one idea for this champion. And if this doesn't help you work out who it is, we're doomed. Because I feel like...
Do you know the charades things, like the sounds like and 2 syllables?
No, not at all.
Okay, we'll just make it up as we go along.
What about
that
movie?
It's a champion.
It's a movie. Yeah.
We all know that.
It's all a champion. Okay, cool. Number 1. Give it to us, Rusty. I'm ready.
This is the only thing I got ready. The chair's a prop, just in case you're all aware or not aware.
You're not allowed to speak during charades.
Okay.
Corky.
It's Corky.
Yeah.
Surely. Yes?
Yeah.
Oh, there we
was a
go.
win.
Oh,
Also,
so
did you see
easy.
my fancy tights that I'm wearing?
I would have
well.
gone with Rumble, but Corky makes sense in hindsight.
No, that works well. That was good.
That was all I had, so
is
I'm,
that like
I'm really glad that worked.
Is that a toboggan, Corky? That's what came to mind.
Well, I mean, it's a... I'm not a chair. It could be any of them. It's in a plane in all of them.
I was like, this guy's getting
Skimmy
so
has
into
a
this.
good imagination.
He does, doesn't he? He can really picture something visually. Unfortunately, he then has to say it all audibly. All right, Skimmy, it's time for you to do yours. We'll go counterclockwise around the group.
Okay.
So, Skimmy,
Okay.
hit us with your charade.
This is going to be tough. Let's see if I can actually act this out. See if I took acting school, which I didn't. So let's see. Okay.
He's got space.
Yeah, he's fine. He's a scarecrow. He's Fiddlesticks.
There it is. There it is. There it is,
That was-
boys. Easy.
That was
Easy.
pretty easy. That was
You
great.
guys,
On the boards.
genuinely, I got trolled. This
the
is
boards.
disgraceful. You guys genuinely got the easiest champions in League of Legends.
Does that mean
Okay,
you're
cool.
going next?
I think
No,
it does.
unfortunately, Callum, our producer, didn't give me any champions. So I think it goes to Nick.
Spawn, with your if there's space in your room with your muscles, if you could act this one out for us.
Yes.
We've broken him on the inside.
Spawn the artist thinks through his next
I
move.
literally, I don't know how to do this.
I mean, what we're looking at is the human embodiment of shame right now.
Yeah,
It's just-
absolutely.
The more
Well, the
scuffed,
thing
the
is,
better.
like I can't stand up in my space either because my microphone cable is really like short.
and we'd all see that busted chair.
And yeah, look at my chair.
How good is this chair? I love it so, so good.
But let's picture like
Tom Kench.
yes.
There you go.
Oh,
Nick is very good.
you're on fire,
Look
man.
at that.
Yeah, before this, my
How
first
did you
thought
get
was
that?
round belly.
I don't know. You went bulbous. I understood that. I saw you the
When he
hand
did this, I
reaching
thought
up.
it
I
was
figured he's
Gragas.
wearing. He's gonna. Yeah. I mean, there's not too many
But then
big
the
ones.
hat.
But then he reached for that tiny hat, and I was like, well, there you go.
Yes. That's it.
Low-key figured Gragas as well. Okay, Spawn, you think you got trolled. I got totally trolled. There's no way I could do this without hurting myself. There's also no way I could do this without, while hearing if you get it or not. So I'll just do it for 10 seconds or so and you could figure it out. Okay, just, enjoy this and hope I don't hurt myself too much.
Now that he's gone, I'm
He's done
excited.
handstands on his bed. Surely. What is that? Wait, Elise!
Is it
Surely.
Elise?
Surely. Was that Elise?
He's not as nimble there at the end.
It's
it
got
Elise?
more than
Elise
got more than two
or
legs.
Urgot?
Is my
Urgot.
takeaway.
Urgot, thank you very much. Go, Skimmy.
Yes.
Go,
It was like
Skimmy.
a crab. It was like a spider. Yeah, something like that.
The
Yes.
chat absolutely nailed it, except for the official Legacy Twitch, who just put a question mark. There you go. That was all the Urgot legs.
That was well done.
Thank you very much. I'm proud of that.
You're athletic.
These are clips that we can't delete, unfortunately.
Look, 12 kilos ago, there's no way I would have been able to do that. Rusty, unfortunately, we've got one more each.
Oh yeah.
One
Okay.
more?
So the thing with this one, before I even consider attempting it, is
Please.
it's too easy for me, and it's cheating. And I think just from that, I
It's
think
barred.
Spawn might even be able to get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the point? Because all I would
Give
do,
him a
I was
new
thinking,
one.
all
Where's
I
that
would do
producer? Give him a
is
new
do
one.
this. I was like, go try again. Next champion, please. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder who it
Okay.
is.
Excellent charading. Although, again, technically, that was less charades and more you saying everything you possibly could to give us enough context clues to be able
All
to
I
get
would
the
have
champion.
done was this, Nick, and you would have got it. It's the same thing.
That's true. Can you point to tattoos of the faces of the celebrities you've got on your body when you're playing charades to cheat? Is
How
that
many,
allowed?
cheating?
how
Is that
many
the rules?
tattoos of celebrities have you got? Yeah.
I've got an enormous Elijah Wood Mad magazine fold in on my back. So if I got Elijah Wood, then it would be fine. If I got Daniel Radcliffe, I'd just point to my own face. All right, Skimmy, you're up.
Okay, my second one. Okay.
Cogmore.
Cogmore has to be Cogmore.
There
has to
it
be
is.
Cogmore.
Yes.
You know, I realized we need some background music.
We do.
We
But
do.
Unfortunately,
The
then our
silence is
stream
awful.
will
Have
To
get
make it
taken down.
ourselves.
I really wanted to like not mute my mic and just be like, "Bleh," but like that would just give it away too easily, right?
Yeah, we need like the Wheel of Fortune music or something. Okay, Spawn, you're up.
All right.
Ari.
Ari.
Yeah.
Heyday Ari.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's not bad.
A
Those
star
were
guy.
ears?
Oh, we're actually
These were
smurfed.
ears?
We're actually insane at this. Why are we not charade commentators?
Is that a
Maybe we
thing?
could do like speed charades.
That's not bad. That's a nice idea. All right, my last one. This one's actually hard. This one I don't. All right.
You're on.
I am on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, as soon as you did the beard, I was about to say that.
That's
No,
a,
as soon as he did the horns, like who else has big horns
I was
out
thinking
here?
Oh,
Hecarim
true.
or Alistar, the other two.
When I
Yeah.
saw the horns, I
But
was
then
like,
he bearded.
Alistair. So I just waited.
Nah, because Alistar would have just been.
we got a
Look,
free
all
one from
this.
Spawn. The person. This is amazing. The
Yeah,
person
dun,
who.
dun, dun, dun.
The person
So
who
good.
hated this the most is the one who's just
Ah,
giving
this
them
is
away
a
for
terrible
free
game.
now.
Unless you play this game after 15 OJs, this game sucks.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
true.
want that to be known by everyone.
That's true. All right, speaking of games that don't suck, League of Legends. We've got Game 2 coming up in a second. Before we get to that, we have to give a shout out to our partner Neosurf. Neosurf, I'm so sorry it's coming on the after all those horrible charades. But thanks to Neosurf, you can be a part of the opening OPL opening video. Win yourself a $500 Neosurf voucher to use in the League of Legends store. Take a vid of yourself joining our opening titles call. Follow OPL and Neosurf Esports on Twitter, and then share it using the hashtag NeosurfWin. Week 3 is the deadline. Get your entries in. We'll judge them. We'll pick the winner. The full terms and conditions are on watch.lollysports.com. The first prize is you join the video and you get $500 thanks to Neosurf in the form of a Neosurf voucher to use on the League of Legends store. And 5 runners-up get $100 each as well. So thank you to our partner Neosurf, where you can keep control of your payments in currencies around the world. And a big thank you to our teams valiantly putting themselves in the line of fire for game number 2. It is Legacy versus Gravitas. Boys, is there any outcome where we're not back here in 25 minutes saying, well done, Legacy?
Yeah, the outcome that happened last split, the last time these guys played.
Good point.
Yeah,
Good
I
point.
mean, there is a alternate universe where that does exist, but if we consider form from week 1 coming
Yeah.
into this one, you'd be very hard pressed to find a reason that Legacy will lose at all this split unless something actually starts to change.
Absolutely. But Spawn, since you did shout that out, if Gravitas do actually take this out, we expect to see 10 more awkwardly quiet charades from you. So,
What do you mean awkwardly quiet?
No, not you. Just
can't
like, no,
talk.
the background music. There's no background music. It's just, at one point I had to check
I'm
my
not
headphones because
awkward,
I was like,
Nick.
did
I
it
can't
get...
be bald and awkward. This is.
You can.
You know what?
You did it. I believe in you, buddy.
This is
Oh, no.
bullshit.
I'll tell
Sorry
you
for that
what.
champ select.
we have a lot of new viewers sitting in the stream right now. Imagine joining and just having Spawn, legendary international caster, just scream at you, I can't be bald and awkward. All right, that's what you get here on the OPL. What you also get is Game 2. It's Legacy versus Gravitas. It's coming up with the Magus Champ Select after this short break.
That's right, we are back here for game number 2, a second best of 1 to kick off week 2 for the OPL, with the reigning champions Legacy up against a newly changed around Gravitas, with Beats literally being the savior of this roster, basically saying I can play every single lane. Didn't have the worst performance there on the support last time, and you can't be too critical given the fact that he has had to accommodate for so much. But we are going to be obviously looking and observing how Kwaku continues to grow into this team, how he really made a name for himself in Split 1 on Mammoth, and now has moved into this roster here with some very strong players that show a lot of potential.
What can I say except you're welcome, Skimmy? I hate Yumi.
You do, and I think pretty much half the community, if not 80%. Let's just throw out that major stat.
Do you
How do you
like
even change
Yumi?
it? Look, I'm going to tell you one thing. When Yumi got released, I think I played her originally, ironically, and then after that, unironically. I think I had like an 80% win rate over like 50 games, and I was like, I don't understand like how this is a thing. So, yeah, now I think I hate her.
Okay. Because, like, I understand why she's getting picked, Skimmy.
Of course.
She's incredibly strong. But I just don't want her to be picked. If that makes sense.
What would you prefer? Like, is it a hate for the champion itself, or
It's the play style,
the
right?
style
Like,
it represents of like
yeah.
enchanting?
yeah. No, it's not enchanters. There are some really cool enchanters. I love Nami. I love Morgana. I really like Janna. I like interactive enchanters where like I have to do something to proactively like punish the lane to therefore get a big advantage and like be better than this tanky dude, right? That's a style of enchanters I like. I was talking about Disc Priests earlier today.
Yes.
I love Disc Priests.
Me too.
Disc Priests are fantastic. Like, you need to be able to do damage for your enchanting to be worthwhile, right? That's my style.
And the skill
of
cap
enchanter.
is so high, you can clearly see a disconnect between who knows how to play and who doesn't. Whereas, like, you know, you
Correct.
compare it to a Holy Priest, which I guess is what Yumi is. Just
Yeah.
chuck out some heals and
Holy
you know,
Nova. Like, you know
just
when
wait
you're
for your team
leveling.
to carry you. Your team will carry.
Do you know how you're leveling at the moment in WoW, and all you're doing is running around in heirloom gear, just spamming Holy Nova over and over again?
That's Smurf. It's
Yeah,
easy.
that's what I don't like. However, we're not playing WoW, Skimmy, unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
we're not in
on stream.
Borealis. We're on stream, getting frantic messages from our production staff.
Wrong game, wrong company. Move on.
I do, however, like the rest of Legacy's draft. Ornn and Graves is like a really fun combination. Anything that warps terrain really suits Graves' playstyle, and the fact that, you know, going with Ornn, going to make this mid-game spike of the Graves even stronger through giving him the upgrade of that Black Cleaver. I think that Babip has been one of the standouts for Legacy so far, and they should continue to play around him because he's really performing really great.
I love to see him on anything other than the likes of a tanking support, especially someone that he can actually showcase how strong he is in the individual matchups, how keen he is to force fights and net himself advantages, and sort of show that, you know, junglers can be carries. I mean, we looked at his Nidalee last week. He was absolutely popping off. We know obviously what Tally can do if given a chance to play the Ornn. Always smashes things out there as he prioritizes the dash in as a max completion first. So they've got a composition already that shows signs of life for very easy targets for the Yumi to couple with. But you flip the side of the script, you go to Gravitas, you see the Echo, you know that can go in multiple different directions. We've seen how strong Praylist is on it, especially when given a chance. And now we have to start wondering, given the fact that the set has been let through, will it be Kwaku or will it be Beats?
Yeah, very interesting. And now with the fact that there's going to be a center picked up, you would assume that's going to be Beats as center. Once again, we've spoken about this. The one lane that I do like center support into is going to be Yumi, so expect to see the same thing here. And potentially Kwaku or Suman playing the set, because I think what you can do here, Skimmy, you should just chase Ornn around Summoner's Rift with set, right? Ornn's going to have a fine matchup into it, but it's also going to be pretty good with Set, and at 2 items, Set is, you know, a very, very good champion as well. Yeah. After that point, Ornn certainly outscales him, but Set's going to have his strength within this draft, and this is a kind of a draft that I think only Legacy can pull off right now. They're going to be playing 2 or 3 losing lanes, depending on how it's going to go across. And I just think that they're probably the only team that I have faith in the OPL that you can play 2 or 3 losing lanes and still be able to win a mid-game. Because they've shown that they can do it before. They even showed that they were able to do it against the Chiefs.
And look how much they've invested in trying to shut down this bottom lane of the Legacy. You know, you've got 4 AD carry bands, you've got an insta-log onto the Ezreal, and then you've got a target on the Karma, which has been so strong as well. We saw what Tally could do last week on it. We've seen how strong it can be in multiple lanes as well, and especially in that bot side, just to find yourself a ton of priority just to win that matchup. So the Ezreal and Senna should have a slightly easier time here, and it is going to force Raze to now play the Ashe.
Yeah, and I mean, Ashe is genuinely one of the few 80 carries left that can 1v2 a lane if she plays it really well, and depending on the item build that she goes for, Skimmy. So given that there is no real tank on the lineup of Gravitas, I would expect to see a poke Ashe come out, run something like Comet, Trinity Force into maybe an Essence Reaver or something for the 40% cooldown reduction. The other form of Ashe that we've seen recently is Lethal Tempo, where you go probably Blade of the Ruined King or Infinity Edge into a crit build. both probably viable in this game. But I would like to see them play for a lane-dominant bottom side of Summoner's Rift, kind of leave Topoon up there on that island, and try and play this poke heavy style with the Ashe as well as the Yuumi lane.
It's going to be interesting to see exactly how they do decide to play things out. It's not frequent that we see a lot of resources targeted in a ban like this towards that bottom side, but we definitely are very outspoken when it comes to highlighting how good their bot jungle is. I'm still, from week to week, I'm so impressed really how Isles just shows up. I mean, for me, especially that last game when he just initiated with a double two-man Tarek stun, got the ball rolling, and basically got the fight won as a result of that. You know, this is a guy that comes in as a rookie, but definitely doesn't feel out of place.
Yeah, big confidence player, Isles, and at the moment, why would you not be confident? Because he's been playing so incredibly well. Skimmy, as you mentioned, the Tarek in the last game versus Order, but the fact that he was able to take Bart away from Cupcake so many times during that OPL Grand Final and really make a name for himself on that champion, I think that he is a terrific pickup from the southeast suburbs of Melbourne as well. So there's just nothing to not love about him.
You've always got to get that final bit in there, mate. I respect it. I appreciate it. And we're going to get to see what they do when we jump into game number 2 here. Legacy League leaders, as well as the reigning champions, will be taking on Gravitas that have upset them in the past. But what they have here with the lane strengths, will that be enough to cause another upset given the current form of Legacy?
The honest answer is probably not, Skimmy. However, if there's ever a draft that is going to be able to get something rolling, it is the top side of Summoner's Rift, that is the set Lee Sin, as well as the Echo. Kind of double assassins into fairly independent champions on the side of Legacy, as Isles already gets his first Mana Flow and Comet proc. That's winning. And he's got Airy, not Comet. So Mana Flow and Airy proc. But I'm going to be interested to kind of mark this game for Gravitas, because I kind of felt sorry for Gravitas in week 1, Skimmy.
Me
You have
too.
internet issues on your jungler. He's not able to play the first game. You're probably a little bit tilted even in the second game. So I hope they really come out swinging today.
You'd hope that, yeah, given how central and essential, really, Praelis is to this organization, that this has been a solid week for them, not only in practice scrims and all the likes of it, that they can come in here with a renewed sense of hope, if you will, that puts week 1 very far in the distance. But it is going to be Raze opening up with the lethal tempo version that you highlighted. So what about the attack speed? Plenty of lockdown with that slowing CC.
Yeah, and I mean, as I said, I haven't seen Ashe in a very long time, so I knew there was kind of 2 builds going around. I don't know what build is better in which situation. Raze is obviously just a very good 80 carry, so I can't see him really playing a utility 80 carry at the moment either, especially not against Gravitas. Maybe if there's like a big game for a very specific game plan, but just acknowledging the fact that this wasn't his ideal pickup. You know, they banned, what did you say, 4 80 carries and the best
They
support?
did. Yeah.
So it probably is just a necessary pick, as opposed to anything else here, Skimmy. So he's just going to play the best available 80 carry with an attack speed variant rune.
I believe we only saw it once last time, the first OPL Classico we had with the Chiefs when they played a Ashe Rumble bot lane. Obviously that game went
I
down
didn't
in
cast
history.
that one.
Yeah, that game went down in history as a 90-kill fiesta, one of which you said, I wonder why Legacy played into Chiefs' playstyle of just being fight, 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 and not this more elegant macro style that we've now come to know and love. That's net them so many wins. So, forward to seeing how Raze plays this time, coupled with the Yuumi instead.
And funnily enough, I think that's the game that the Chiefs won. And then
was.
Legacy slowed down the next 2 times they played against them, and they never lost again. Like, just looking at already how the map compositionally is set up, it's kind of what we said, Skimmy. You know, 2 lanes getting pushed in, and you have a tempo jungler. This is kind of what you expect on blue side of Summoner's Rift at the moment. It's very hard to get, you know, 2 winning lanes on blue side of Summoner's Rift. You generally get a better jungler, however, because the junglers are very blind pickable at the moment. Hold the thought, however. Tally goes in. He might be in trouble.
Yeah, Suman actually baits out the knock-up there as Tally commits to it. You want the Praelis to come on through with the red buff online for a lot of damage potential trade, but both will be quite content burning through those consumables and topping themselves up to around 50%.
Suman's done a really good job in this laning phase. He actually farmed up pretty nicely there. He's going to have teleport to be able to get back into this one as well. Should be able to come back with a second ring here. Tally, exact same thing, right? But Tally's a really good Ornn laner, so if you can ever keep the wave even early, I think that's a credit to you, especially if you're playing a melee assassin. Now, after their first clear, this is where the game gets interesting. You can see already that Babip is slightly quicker than Lee Sin, and he is going to head topside Quaku shouldn't die here because his lane is technically pushing back into him. But he just got caught, and this might be it.
Yeah, Juke's at the turret shot, but now Tapuna's fully stacked up on that Conqueror as Babbitt opens things up there with the smoke screen, going to run blind into a brush as the Gret comes through, buffers his health bar, but it won't be enough to stop the inevitable. First blood goes to Tapun.
So all you have to do, if you're Quaku there, is give up one creep, Skimmy, and it should be impossible for them to kill you. But he got really greedy, right? He wanted the whole creep wave, wanted to be able to keep farming up, felt like he was unpressured in this lane, gets dragged back from top boon, sets up the gank beautifully there, and now there's a massive deficit on the top side of Summoner's Rift. We were mentioning how, you know, map state was ideal for Gravitas. Despite having the weaker jungler, they were getting the lanes in the correct position, but one mistake against Legacy, and you can kiss all of that goodbye in the early game a lot of the time.
And that's going to give him such a nice little advantage coming back to this now with the Seeker's Arm Guard online, having burnt Quaku's teleport to respond to that so he does not miss out on a crashing minion wave too. He's going to be quite content now in the lane state, if you will, as we now turn our attention to the bottom side where we find Legacy pushed in underneath their turret, to be expected really, in what you'd say is a 1v2 situation.
Yeah, and it's not just that, right? Like, you've got a weaker support, and then you've banned away all the 80 carries, and you've got arguably the stronger 80 carry as well. So I would expect this to be exactly where the lane state plays out. This is really interesting, the fact that they're going to try and translate it into an early dragon. 5-minute dragon is not something we see often in the OPL, Skimmy, and if we do see it, it's normally off a shop, not just off a tempo play here, but really well done by Prayless and Beats to identify that. And I wonder now whether they do burn the teleport from Puma to get back into bottom lane, try and push this out again and get the 8-minute flip. Because I think, if anything, Quaku probably does want that to come across.
I'm sure he does at this stage, because you can feel that Tapun quite content to allow this one to come on in. And then no doubt look to try and freeze
what
it.
Top Boon's doing. One of the creeps is going to die. The Top Boon just doesn't go for it, right? Just allows it to die, knows that the wave is going to crash into his turret.
I think that is experience starting to show right there in that individual matchup. As you can see, Lee Sin finds the tempo play with an early acquisition on that dragon, as Beats feigns the recall to assist him. Based off that, now can return to this lane. Continues to show a lot of pressure. Try and shut down Tally as Suman goes in for the collapse, has the ultimate, so can Crota break himself back to full HP. Ultimate goes out. It's going to be a flash away from Echo, did not want to fall on down. But it will be his life in the end that gets taken on down as Babbitt's the one to pick up the kill. And also topsides, Tapun absolutely smashing.
Yeah, you hate to see it. I just want to go back to it, Skimmy. Tapun is kind of the unsung hero of this Legacy lineup. He is so incredibly talented. And he's just one of those players that if you sleep on him, if you think, you know, he's on a weak side pick, we can just afford to ignore it, you're really wrong. Because he is so damn good at the game of League of Legends. Now picks himself up a solo kill in this lane. And he's going to make it very difficult for any topside map split plays to happen. This is Quaku just looking for some harass, and Tapun just wants nothing to do with it, right? Turns around, going to be able to space him very, very nicely, burns a flash, and picks up the kill.
Doesn't fall out of range there for his passive to work wonders, and almost a deja vu play minus the Babbitt influence. Same situation, and same outcome too.
Yeah, and now he's ungankable as well, because he's got level 6, and even if he didn't, he has himself a Seeker's Arm Guard and Ninja Tabby, so there's no way you want to gank that on the top side of Summoner's Rift as a Lee Sin. Yeah. Tally also starting to have a little bit more fun in this mid lane now that he's got himself, you know, the makings of the Abyssal Mask as well. And bottom lane, which was the lane that was going really, really nicely for them after this dragon pickup, has kind of stabilized in Legacy's favor as well, getting raised towards that level 6 position. It's fairly even, you know, they're what, 14 CS up now, but the creep wave coming in, they're going to be able to deny some CS here. So that's the most stable lane right now for the Gravitas lineup, but certainly not the early game they would have been looking for, already down 2,000 gold, Skimmy.
What a fantastic job Raze has done in that same motion to CS so effectively when pressed against his tower as such, and to not fall victim to the harassment of Puma and Beats.
Now I want to say what
really where the sign of life, what was like the turning point here? Because you say, you know, you look at topside, Tapun essentially has one of those like hotel door signs of do not disturb. I've got so much armor, I am ungankable from a double AD threat. Where do they look to go?
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I was going to say. Now I'm interested to see how Gravitas try and play this one out, because historically you would say this is where Praelis is going to get super busy, but he's in a gank versus tempo matchup, right? Doesn't have flash available, so probably can't get all that much more busy than he has been. He's taken himself a dragon, also got a successful gank under his belt. Really what he needs is his lanes to hold on a little bit better. And as you can see, Skimmy, that's just not happening right now, unfortunately, for the Gravitas jungler. Bottom lane starting to become a wash. Top side becoming a wash. Mid lane just, it's an Ornn. It's like a fridge. You can't really move it. So, honestly, I don't have the answer to you. And this is where playing tempo jungle feels really good. If you're losing lanes and you're playing tempo jungle, it's really hard. You're getting invaded. Everyone's trying to play to shut you down. But if all your lanes are winning independent of what you're doing, it is so easy to play tempo because all you have to do is farm quickly.
Well, you got farming, but then you've also got killing too. As Tapoon TPs into the fight, he says, you get that one, and I'll go for this one. He's just going to dive underneath that turret as Puma concedes to the death. He's going to get kicked in right now. Praelis looks to try and even out those scales. Going to receive a heal. He's going to come in clutch right now as Yubi couples on in. Sumin looks for the gang, but Chronograte's right back to where he started. We're now starting to see Legacy just completely outclass their opponents.
Yeah, they're such a good team, right? First teleport comes through initially to pick up a kill. As soon as Tally realizes that that is going to be Tapoon in threat, he teleports down. Now they're going to use Razor's teleport to flip to the correct side of Summoner's Rift and deny Quaku any plates. This is Legacy, just playing like a really beautiful League of Legends. They're always helping each other. They're utilizing their correct strengths on the map. And honestly, they're very hard to stop when they do this.
Well, Bev said, let me in on some of that action. I want to find myself a kill. Flash full commits there with the red buff and finds a kill on towards Beats again. Now 0-2, having rushed the executioners, but no time to utilize any form of uptime. That's the showstopper to bring Tally back into the fold of things as a 4-man collapse here from Gravitas finds some joy, and they get himself a kill.
Yeah, might get themselves the second dragon of the game, Skimmy, as they now have 4 members down this side of Summoner's Rift. Potentially will have to use the teleport to save their top lane turret or send Sumin up there. But, I mean, across the board, well played by Gravitas. They're looking for opportunities still trying to stay busy. But I just think that, we keep talking about it. Legacy are the champions for the reason. They're a cut above the rest. Even though you have a dragon play on one side of the map, there is still a play available for them. Razor's still going to come out ahead in gold so incredibly far now. And, 4,000 gold at 11 minutes is a huge deficit. 2,000 gold down at 15 minutes is generally like a very tough mid game. If you're already 4,000 gold down and you still have 4 minutes to get to that 15-minute mark, that's going to be quite tough.
Ray's been fueled with so much gold as well from the lane state flip, unlocking all those turret plates that you highlight with that timer there. He's significantly far ahead once again of this Ezreal priority we're starting to find here in the OPL, and you start to get quite concerned when you're locking in so early. You want to get that major advantage found for the cheaper online items, and you fall behind, you fall victim to, as you say, being a little bit lackluster until 25-30 minutes in.
Have you heard my off-season conspiracy theory about champions like Ezreal, Skimmy?
Look, I have not, and I'm open for it. Let's have it right here, right now.
Okay, so people that play in the OPL, right? They're big fans of people overseas. Whether it's Uzi or Deft or whatever in the AD carry position. And I have this theory, and I've had it for quite a couple of years now, that if you're in a major region, hold the thought, because Tapoon might go for a 1v1 here.
Actually walks back into the grasp, now takes him into that Death Realm, where it means only one thing. The 3-0 Mordekaiser now becomes 4-0.
Yep, really well played from Tapoon there. Just baits out the rotation across and able to pick up another solo kill. And what I was going to say, right, is so these guys, like Def, right, he has to play these boring AD carries like Aphelios like all day, every day during season. And then a patch will drop with a little placebo buff to Ezreal, and he'll start playing it, and people will be like, wow, Def thinks Ezreal's really good. I'm going to start spamming it.
Yeah.
And then what it really is
they're bored.
That hurts. Yeah, they're just bored and they're playing fun champion. And the champion actually sucks. And then because you've been playing it heaps, you play it for like a week at competition, because that's what you practice on. But after that, you're back to Aphelios and, Misfortune and whatever else is getting competitive. That's my theory on it. I actually think maybe
it's too far-fetched. I mean, I've seen it happen in other games where they draw so much inspiration from the major region metas and think, well, if they're playing it, they must do it for a reason, right? So I should be too.
Yeah, and I think maybe sometimes like there is some merit to it. Like I think Ezreal is quite strong at the moment. I was watching LPL the other night, and he's pretty good there. But I think there's some other champions in the meta right now, like Twisted Fate middle and stuff. And Puma,
They just don't care. They are turret diving upon turret diving. Ray's acting as a bruiser in his own damn right with shields, heals, and everything to make sure he doesn't fall on down. Beats returns to that lane and says, "Where's my AD carry?" Mid lane is doomed.
I mean, the game's kind of doomed, right, Skimmy? There's 6,000 gold down. Going to be require a monumental throw from this stage, the likes that we don't often see in the OPL. Babib going to go get Tally a red buff for his trouble. Bottom side of the map, Topoon is just soloing out a turret. If I'm Quaku, I don't want to go down there anymore either. But across the board, Legacy just in complete control. And this is what you expect from your champions, right? If there was anything different after, Gravitas lost Parbu over to Pentanet.gg, if there was any other outcome to this game, you would be very, very surprised. Because Legacy should be a cut above.
And they are once again showcasing how we have that very clear disconnect in the standings between 1 to 8 and some of the discrepancies.
I think there's a disconnect in the standing between 1 to 2.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. There was a very clear disconnect between 1 and 2, and then even between the middle of the pack, how they'd say maybe represent a tied 4th position, but what it actually meant in a greater scope of things, if you will.
Like, who this split has looked as clean as Legacy?
Quite honestly, no one at this stage. You were concerned that Chiefs didn't sort of pick up their pace like they did in Split 1, and Direwolves, yes, it was a slow game, but it didn't look as if Legacy were challenged too much.
Yeah, so I would say Direwolves definitely don't look as good. Order, obviously already beaten by them. Pentanet is the last remaining undefeated team in the competition. And I would really love to watch that match quite soon.
Sure,
obviously, we're going to see Pentanet play against them tonight. Pentanet were really, really good in Scrim last split. And I spoke about it a lot on the couch that I thought they were actually going to be one of the teams to watch. Obviously, that fell over. They've come in red hot this split again, maybe what they would have liked to have shown last split. But until they really show that against, Legacy in particular, you have to question whether they have enough of it to... Oh, Beats is hardened.
Beats has been taken into the death room right now, as he will fall on down and make the raid boss scale up to the mythic level. And as Tally goes hunting as well, and Wally's Quaku just a little bit more right now, not having a fun time in this game at all. The showstopper is going to be the final bit of utility he can look to try and offer into these team fights. His ability to remain tanky enough to find those game-changing 3 to 4 man face breakers may be quite limited right now as the gold continues to build up. 7,000 in their favor. 11 kills to 2. The first 2 dragons passed across, if you will. Very characteristic of what Legacy did in the Split 1. But now they begin the objective control.
Yeah, and just really beautiful play. You've got to say this journey started with Jensen, and it looks like Denian hasn't missed a beat. Denian, I think great coach within the OPL, would have learnt so much off the Singaporean superstar coach, and this team just looks very much on the same page. Looks like they're all reading from the same book, from the same page, from the same line at every stage of the game, and they just don't have weakness. And yeah, as I was saying just a second ago, would love to see them play against PGG, very, very soon. And I hope PGG keep their form, because otherwise, with the Chiefs arguably getting a little bit weaker, with Avant stumbling today, with Direwolves going 0-2 with Order. I know it's only early in the split, but it quickly looking like the LCS, where, C9 were ahead from the start, and then just nobody caught them. That's kind of what the vibe is right now for me with this Legacy lineup.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to as well, is who is going to be that challenger, the major threat to put Legacy in their stride. Or if we were going to get a bit of a flip of the occasion where, Split 2 gets off to a bit of a slow start with their opponents, but by the end of things, and especially going into the playoffs, that buff starts to come online. Or if the momentum, the tempo that they've gained throughout that split has just put them far too ahead of that curve. As it stands right now, they are definitely making sure that there is no chance for them to fall on back in these games. Very content with this one. Almost brings us back to the mid-season clash. We had that second All-Star match, and despite it being pretty much against them for the majority of the time, I think it was 8 minutes when they picked up that Baron, everything just turned around completely. They extract so much value at every stage of this game. as their opponent once again tries to draw a play out of that book and make something happen. Everybody sacrificed Beats. They've left him to his own device. Bevit goes on a killing spree right now, and he is hunting for more. 1v3 with a cat on his head. He is on the prowl as they retreat back to their top tier 2.
And this is the thing, right? They kick them out of their own jungle. Meanwhile, mid lane turret is falling down, and Kwaku is getting smashed in this side lane from Topoon. Like, there's just not a point of strength on the map right now for Gravitas that you would call remotely strong. They're going to lose another 2 turrets most likely right here, Skimmy. And as you were mentioning, you know, they're resilient. If they, you know, fall behind, it looks like they always have a chance to be able to come back and win the game. And if they're ahead, they just don't make the mistakes that other OPL teams make, which makes them really, really terrifying. We'll see them go back into a full court press. You can see right now, Raze is still perched up in that mid lane. Topoon unrelenting in this side lane versus Kwaku. And no one can come help him as Baron is about to spawn. 3,300 gold in the top lane alone, Skimmy, at 20.
I know. You really do hate to see it. You know, you're talking that gold disparity, you're talking 2 level advantage and 150 armor as well. He takes 0 damage here from Kwaku. He can merely watch the turrets fall around him. And it's almost like he's asking for a parental permission slip. Can I have some of the CS, please?
Yeah, unfortunately sometimes, mate. Mum and Dad say, I don't understand why you need to have the lunch order on this day. So no, I will not get you the slip. You end up forging it. You get in trouble because your handwriting is definitely not as good as what theirs should be. And,
I got called out for that once, actually. Yeah, the little rebel I was back in high school.
See, I was the opposite. My parents used to tell me to sign my own notes.
Oh, you're kidding?
To the point where I remember it really clearly, when my dad signed a note one day, they thought I had forged it.
I love that.
Yeah, so, very strange Australian school system. Prellis in the river. Maybe caught out here, Skimmy.
Yep, we talk about 2 level disparity between the top laners, but the same could be said here in the jungle. As Yonok goes hunting, but he jukes the wrong way, so he's not going to fall victim to that, but that's not going to stop the attack that comes here from Legacy. They are on the hunt. You run one way, and another threat comes from another angle. There is nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. And Beats, he's beating himself up right now. 0-6. Rough showing here, completely outclassed. No chance to make Senna a benefactor of this game. As Prellis, it's almost like catch the Teemo. They take him down eventually.
This is just a survival game, Skimmy. It's like one of those games where
it's like hide and seek.
You start running through the woods and then you know the bad guy's coming for you.
What's that game? Slenderman, right? When you're running through the woods.
Yeah.
You're always worried about something chasing you from behind, and in that case, the Slenderman is Legacy. They're scary. That's what I'm trying to say here. If I have to dumb it down.
This is brutal. Like, this is absolutely brutal to watch. They're going to get themselves 3rd dragon. Self point, maybe.
Yep.
Oh, no!
He just walks into that dragon pit and says, yoink, thank you very much. Smite, outclass, more damage, and more chance to get tanky now. As Ornn is the absolute dream now with 2 mountain dragons, and Bevit leads the line. Once again, 1v3 with a cat on his head, leading the line with that final chapter. They're going to get rooted in place. They're going to get CC'd. Who cares about the turret? I have 100 armor. I've got a passive working overtime. And I have collateral damage. That's a double kill going the way of Tally. And if Charad's taught us anything, it looks a little bit wonky.
This is like... Oh. As I said, I felt sorry for Gravitas last weekend because they had to play without their superstar jungler in Prellis, and I feel sorry for them for a completely different reason right now, Skimmy. You know, it is just that class factor right now that the defending champions are bringing to Summoner's Rift. And I wonder whether they're, like, enjoying the game when they're playing like this. You have to be, right? This is just good fun playing with your mates, running over a team.
It's the dream, right, when you're playing games, especially as a 5-stack. You know, you get to have fun, everything's working, you're a cohesive unit, you make a play, you know that your teammate's going to do the same thing to follow things up. A little bit different to when we're playing Valorant, but that's another game entirely, as they now look to try and take down Topoon in a 1v4 Siege Assault. It is a mythic rating boss. Do they have enough damage, or will they fall victim to everything he has online? He runs back to his team, they come in clutch, they give him the heal, and they give him the support to turn around and force a counter engage. Tally going to look to try and force that stun, but not going to fall in victim. It's stunned out there by the Echo Sphere. And once again, Babip says, this is why I don't want to play tank jungles, because I can get kills. Now 5-0-5.
Yeah, and you can just see how ahead they are. Topu, you know, tanks 3 members, able to shrug it off. Yuumi gets there in time. The rest of the team rotating, Skimmy, that cohesive unit. The reason I ask is because, you know, after the OPL final, they looked a little bit unimpressed. But, you know, this is for Worlds this season, and the chance to be able to go overseas and represent OS. And, you know, back-to-back defending titles as well means that players, like, eventually you have to start taking note of players like, you know, Raze, like Tally, like Babip, on the international stage. I would be really interested in, you know, the interest level of Topu as well. He is a Korean speaker, does speak, you know, well enough, English well enough to be able to play on the Legacy lineup, but, you know, you wonder whether there's a Korean challenger slot or something like that in the young man's future, because once again, I do think he's that good, but...
I would love to see it.
Yeah.
You know, that has to be the aspiration, coming from a smaller region to make it on the big stage. You know, you're looking at all the financial benefits. If it is something that you're passionate about, then it's something that you can actually base your career around and, you know, sort of put your parents' anxiety on the back foot for the most part. Obviously a lot of adversity to overcome when you're having that kind of discussion with them. So if you can make it on the big stage, it'd be good to see, and that's obviously what they're looking for. Unfortunately, with the current world climate, unable to make it to the mid-season brawl, but their goals are clearly still aligned on one focus: win split 2, dominate every game, take no chances, take no risks, but make things a very real possibility coming into the close of this one too.
Yeah, Ornn items are out across everyone now. One more level and he's going to be able to, you know, upgrade that Graves item as well. You have to say, with Ardent available for the Graves, he's in a situation where he's going to be very much able to win this game. Same level as his solo laners, 4 levels ahead of Praelis in this game. 25 minutes in, 13,000 gold lead. The reason we're not all that much present on screen, guys, is because it feels like it's a little bit of an inevitability. They've taken everything away from Gravitas. Feels like just a matter of time before they just walk in, kick down the front door, and take the rest of the base.
Well, it does, and you know, it's been a really rough showing here for both Praelis and Beats. You can talk about those level disparities. You know, it's a 5 level disparity between Mordekaiser and Nasena. They have definitely avoided them in this situation right now, as they now look to try and force out these more kills. A minute on another dragon, that would force them to a soul point with 90 seconds on the Baron buff. Talking about the inevitability, well, every outer turret is gone. It's just an inhibitor and a Nexus that remains.
4,000 gold in the bottom lane, 5,000 gold top lane, you know, 3,500 in jungle. It's a difficult game to play right now for the Gravitas lineup. What I'd like to see them do, Skimmy, is go for the last fight.
Yeah.
As a coach, you always want them to just have a last crack at the fight, just because it gives you something to review, right? Give us something from this game to be able to take away. I know it's hard to, you know, when do we look for it? Probably on the second inhibitor going down.
You could see them sniffing at the idea of let's force a fight, but Babip says, okay, I am just going to destroy you before you have a chance. Clutch shield comes out there. I believe it was the locket that kept Babip alive long enough for Yuumi to come in with those heals and shut down the attempt of Kwaku, trying to get at least something on the score sheet to celebrate. 19 kills to 2 now spawn. That successful fight buys them enough time to break open the base.
And if you can't kill Graves there, Skimmy, you're not killing anyone. I think that's just the reality of the situation. They go for it now, however.
That they certainly do. Well, once again, is the one in the driving seat as the Death Ram expires, as does Puma's health bar.
Well, there you have it. 2 people dead. Double inhibitor is going to go down, Skimmy. 27 minutes into this game. It's going to be probably 3 minutes longer than Nick Boy thought it was. But I think the result, very much a commanding Legacy victory at this stage.
That it certainly is. Legacy looking for one final fight. That is if Gravitas want to show it their way. Quake are going to do the showstopper into his own fountain, but gets killed mid-animation. One final chance. Praelis goes for the kick. 2-man knock-up, but just no damage to follow things up with here. Legacy going to close out this one. The Nexus is in their sights. They want to pet their KDAs. Why wouldn't you? They are so accelerated at this stage. And Sapoon acting as a top laner. Well, he wanted to try and go for the end on his own, but he will get taken on down. They finally get the kill. They take out Suman, and Legacy will get week 2 off here to an absolute flying start.
Whew. It's a little bit
sweaty.
Little bit
That's what I
sweaty.
wanna
Right,
a little bit
yeah,
sweaty
Skimmy.
there. You look, I'm trying to give it that really dramatic wrap-up of the game, and they just won't even hit the Nexus. I'm like, come on. Just end it. Just end it. You know, you have those like really good soundbite moments, and you're like, this is what I had prepared for me. This is what I had prepared to say. They don't want that. They just want to keep that in the KDA.
Exactly, but they cost Top Uni's KDA in the end.
They
He
did.
would have gone through another game deathless, but unfortunately fell down at the very end there. But really, you just got to... We call it golf clap at order. Every now and again, you just got to give your opponent a little bit of a clap because they play better than you. Legacy just in fine form at the moment, Skimmy.
They most certainly are, and that's going to do it for game number 2 as we jump to a quick break, and when we return, it is the Direwolves taking on Mammoth.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got this! It's deadly! He's got it!
Welcome to the 2020 OPL. I am Nick Boy Richardson.
And that's a beautiful hemo play. Got to multiple members. He gets himself a double kill.
It's Ray's doing what he does, the team fight king.
We love everybody. We love the OPL.
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.